Hello everyone and welcome back to Season 2 of the Kerbanauts series. If you haven't watched Season 1, check it out. There'll be a playlist at the end and probably in the description. And I thought, why not celebrate the return of Kerbanauts, which wasn't actually that popular, but I did it ages ago when I was a less popular channel. Let's do it by making a Saturn V. Now Kerbanauts at the moment is us recreating, so far, historical crafts in Kerbal space program and going up through the years, and that makes sense to about, I don't know, some point where, to the point where we, after this mission basically, we can only do satellites really if we were to follow what Earth has done. So after a while we will stray further from reality. We might make things from films or things, so if you've got anything you want me to build, hopefully this series will still be like deep space exploration, but next series, if there is a next series, we'll probably do further out space, like maybe sending people to places like Eve, which is Venus. So I don't know, maybe it'll be interesting to do like a starship recreation or something. But anyway, that's besides the point. Here we are constructing the command module, which is there made out of fuel tanks, because the actual service module bits that come with the game do not have any built-in fuel tanks, and you have to add them yourself, and I needed the extra fuel, so I stuck a Wolfhound engine on the bottom. It's got high power in a vacuum, and here we are constructing the Lunar module. I was a bit late looking into this, talking about it, but anyway, here we go. So I basically just made loads and loads of those little cubes, those struts, don't know what they're called, and put the gold panels all around them. It took ages, trust me. But there we go, you can see I'm adding fuel, and that's because the lander, for those of you who aren't familiar with the Saturn V launch, so the lander landed using the bottom stage's fuel. The bottom stage then ran out of fuel when it landed, like at the exact point it landed, and then the top stage, just the top command module, has its own engine, which you might see me construct a minute ago, and takes off and returns to the service module and command module, which are orbiting the moon. And you'll see all of that in a minute. Now I say that because you are about to watch the mission anyway. But there we go. And a ladder for the Kerbals to climb out. Now, it's not a perfect recreation, I must say that, because I've already noticed quite a few things that aren't right, but it's alright. Now, that can take off, and you might be like, oh, that's bad. It's not bad, because you must remember that the gravity on the moon is a lot less than the gravity on Kerbin. So therefore you can't actually test things you want to fly on the moon, and the moon only, on Kerbin, because they will not give a good representation of what it will act like on the moon. If it had enough power to take off from Kerbin, it would probably be too powerful for the moon. So that's why I wasn't too concerned about the fact that it couldn't fly. Now we're putting the command module into the bay underneath the service module where it will sit, which is between the third stage and the service module, and we're fairing it up. Now you might see the fairing like attached between the launch escape and the service module that covers the command module at the top of the rocket. That's accurate to the actual thing. It had it there so that it didn't damage the command module when it was taking off with the heats, when it was in the sky, in the atmosphere, you know. Those skipper engines I do replace with vector engines. I know the skipper engines are a better representation of the actual F2 engines that powered the third and second stage. However, they weren't powerful enough for me, so I switched them out for vectors in the end. But also vectors have enough gimbal that they're way easier to use and way better. Now you see the fairing pieces, sort of fairing pieces, over where the mastodons are. They stick out a bit from the fuel tank at the very bottom. They come with a piece, but they're down there. That meant to have fins on it, and I forgot that, so you won't be seeing them. But they are meant to be there in the actual thing. I just didn't add fins. But it's fine, because the first stage doesn't even last very long. It lasted like 2 minutes or something before it burns off. It runs out of fuel. So here we go, just doing the staging, which you can see there's a lot of stages on the right side. There's 12, and it's going up as I add more. But yes, this has enough Delta V to get to the moon. I use Delta V maps. If you search up KSP Delta V map on Google, it will give you a Delta V map that will help you see how much Delta V you need to get to each planet, and you just add up each strip, and so it's really helpful. Now here I am adding equipment into the lander, so there will be equipment in the lander, and it also makes the lander look kind of cool, not gonna lie. But the Breaking Ground DLC gives you loads of equipment, and so I put loads of solar panels and things in. Obviously they don't work because I'm in a sandbox save, but if you use this in a science save, I will upload the creation, then you can that will help you a lot to have them. Now here we are testing launch escape. You can see the parachutes are in a row. They wouldn't be like that in real life, but it's not that far off. Now there's quite a lot of added without you watching. But anyway, quickly, we're here for launch. This bit is in real time for a second. Anyway, what I was saying is, oh yeah, there's what I added after I filmed the build, like between test runs that I didn't film. So that's why there's changes that you might not have seen before. But anyway, here we go, we're in launch. Now this is real time, and this is how quickly it took off. It was slow, very, very slow. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how it looks. I'd say that the fairing where the lander is a bit too long for my liking, but it's not all that bad. So anyway, here we go, taking off. I've sped it up again, and we're off into space. Now it was so slow, and as you'll see in a second, it burns off very quickly. There you go, a nice shot of leaving the KSC, and you can see the fuel goes down really fast. It's because the Mastodon engines eat so much fuel, it's unbelievable, and they have to carry such a big stage. And there we go, we lost the first stage. So the first stage is gone. The second stage is bringing us up to a high apoapsis and will help. I think it does most of the circularization around the Earth. Now you could see when I was taking off how much gimbaling the vector engines are doing, and that just proves that I couldn't have done it with skipper engines, which can't vector very well at all. So there we go, we're on to the third stage. Now I strayed a little bit from reality here. I used the third stage, oh wait, that's later. It's still the same thing. I used the third stage to circularize around the moon. In real life, they would have done it with the service module, but I had so much extra DLC, extra Delta V, that it didn't matter in the end. Anyway, so if you want to do it, you can do it properly. There's plenty of Delta V in the craft. But here we go, using the RCS that's on the top there. And there we go. We're making our lunar injection burn. Just recalling facts right now, and it's harder than it sounds. So as you can see, we're raising our apoapsis to get a encounter with the moon. And at this point on the real thing, the third stage would have burnt so that the periapsis is set on a course to crash in with the moon. Then the third stage would disconnect. It would reconfigure, which you'll see in a minute anyway, where the command module turns around, connects to the lunar module, and when it's reconfigured, then the third stage crashes into the moon, and the command module uses its engine to circularize around the moon. Now that sounded a lot more complicated, and here you can do, I'm doing a second attempt at that last bit, and that is because I get this glitch where the maneuver nodes aren't accurate, so it will tell me that it's going to do something and then it doesn't do it. But this one didn't go too badly. There we go. Got a nice periapsis, which seems to be falling quite a lot. RCS does have an effect on like periapsis and things, so if you overuse it, then that's why. And Kerbals only spent 2 days in space. So here we go. This is where there would be no third stage anymore. So we're going to circularize around the moon, because this stage has so much extra Delta V, it doesn't need it. But luckily, the command module has so much Delta V as well that I didn't need to substitute the command module's fuel for this. It makes more sense. I don't know, it doesn't really make sense when I'm saying it out loud. Right, these solar panels are out because every time I did it before, the solar panels, the command module ran out of power, and that's really annoying. Also, you can see me transferring monopropellant here. For some weird reason, the stupid game decides to suck monopropellant from the lunar module before it sucks it from the command module. So either you can do two things when you fly this. You can disable crossfeed between the docking ports, or you can do what I did, which is just transfer the monopropellant from the main tanks into the lunar module. And that is because the main service module has so much monopropellant, it doesn't need it all, basically. And here we go. We are reconfiguring the craft, and we then remove the stage, the third stage, and we've reconfigured ready for... This is where it is circularized. Words are not coming to me today. That is where it is circularized when they're connected. But we've already done that, so we can just send the lunar module down after we put two of our Kerbals, Jebediah and Bill, into it. And we've got an engineer. No, Bill's a scientist. I think Bob's the engineer. I don't remember. But we got the scientist to set up the scientist equipment. That's why. And here we go. Watch the liquid fuel, because it's interesting how close we get to crashing into the moon. Now, though, I had hundreds of attempts at this, hundreds. It was super painful. Here we go. The liquid fuel is going down. The Delta V is going down. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Watch the Delta V. Watch the Delta V. We're out of Delta V. See? 0 meters per second. We landed at the point we had no fuel left, which was pretty incredible. Now, if I wanted to do this more accurately, I would have given the Kerbals the suits that come with the Making History DLC, rather than the ones that come with the Breaking Ground DLC, but the Breaking Ground ones are cooler, so we're using these. Also, I had a problem with the flags since the most recent update, which is some reassembly required. They don't seem to stick in the ground. They just fall over every time I put them down. And nobody else has had the problem, so I don't know what it is. Maybe I've bugged something out. But sometimes they'll stay up for a bit and then the Kerbal will just knock them over, and it doesn't make sense to me. So as you can see, every time I plant a flag, it just gets knocked over. And I understand that that rockets, if you place a flag underneath a rocket's engine and take off, it will knock the flag over. So flags do have physics and you can knock them over, but it doesn't make sense that they were knocked over so fast. And now I'm thinking, I think Bill's the engineer. He must be the engineer, because I broke the solar panel. I jumped into it, and luckily some reassembly required update means that you can grab a repair kit and you can repair any object. So I repaired the solar panel. There's still broken bits of solar panel around, but mostly it's okay. And there we go. Here we go, placing lounge spotlights ready for the science experiment. It was so painfully slow, so you will have to sit through this, but I will talk to you the whole time. And as you can see, the lander looks pretty good. I'm pretty proud of how the lander came out. It looks pretty accurate to the actual thing, especially when it takes off. Although I think it does a flip or something. I actually filmed the mission about like 3 months ago, before Christmas. But I haven't spoken over it because I haven't needed a video, but this is now a backup video that I'm just talking over now. I'll edit in the sound over the pre-recorded clip, and then this will be posted on a Sunday. So here we go. Setting up all the science experiments. Breaking Ground DLC is definitely worth it. There's a lot that comes with it, and it's so much fun to set up with experiments and things, even though I couldn't use them anyway, because I'm pretty sure Bill is an engineer, not a scientist. Correct me if I'm wrong. There we go, placing out the solar panels. You need, like, I don't know, a certain amount of solar panels to be able to run all the experiments. So I did 1 solar panel per experiment that I wanted to run. So that's what I'm doing here. There we go. That's the control station. And we can see that there's so many experiments. All of this comes with the DLC. Now that radar dish, you can see it's pointing straight at the lander, and that's because the lander has a relay dish, which you might be able to see up there. It's sort of brown, it's sort of clipped into the body, and that's relaying to the command module, which is up orbiting the moon, which is then relaying it to Earth. So there's a massive network going on there, which which is kind of cool, I thought. But here we go. We can see it go through the dark, see everything glowing. The suits are so cool. Like, the Breaking Ground DLC is good enough just for that. And for some reason, when I time warped, all the experiments fell over. So I had to reset them up. It was a pain. And the lights that come with the game are so painful to put up. I couldn't get them to stand up. I just think it was a bug. There we go. A little bit of golf from Bill there. That came with some assembly required. Some assembly acquired. Required. There we go. Words, you know. Anyway, they're now getting back into the lander, ready to return home after their fun exploration on the moon. And here we go. So we have to somehow rendezvous with the command module, which is orbiting the moon. So we have to work out where it is, find out an approximate estimate of where it will be, and the telephone's going on in the background. That's really annoying. I hope it stops. But anyway, here we go. We've taken off. Now, the apoapsis, as you can see, was not going in the right direction. And so I reloaded the save. And we kept on doing this many, many times until I got the apoapsis right. And I know it seems cheating, but they would have had computers in real life, so I don't think it's that bad. But as you can see, it comes off the base super well. And there we go. I got it perfect that time. And we are now on our way, just using the top, to join up with the other thing. Now, this doesn't have enough fuel in it, really. There should be more fuel in the top stage. But as there isn't, we do have to use RCS for some of the rendezvous. Rendezvous is impossible, basically. I find it so difficult, and I'm just amazed that I ever met up with the craft, to be honest. Which you can see I do at some point. The best way to do it is just to spam next words are escaping me. Next orbit, basically. And continually until you get an encounter, which is what we did, and here we go. We just time warped 3 days of orbiting the moon. So they've been sitting in the lunar module for 3 days. Now this is something that KSP2 might fix, as in you don't have to feed Kerbals, you don't have Kerbals like, you don't have to worry about how they're feeling or anything. They can go without sleep. So it might be interesting to have like stasis chambers or something in KSP2, but we'll see. Anyway, here I'm using a method of getting closer to the craft. So the way you do it is you set it as target, you then point the module towards it using the node, go like towards target, then burn forwards, then go retrograde, and then burn, and like I'm doing here, as you can see, to slow ourselves down. So target, you burn towards the target, and then you burn retrograde to get rid of all your speed. And then I'll use the laser method of docking. So you can see that you set the docking port as target, like I'm doing here, and you make them both target each other so that they just slot together like that. And luckily, here we are. All of the lovely Kerbals are safely back orbiting the moon again. And it looks so cool. There's so much waste from this mission. There's loads of stuff floating around in space. I think I destroy it at the end, to be honest. But we'll see. I can't remember. Did it such a long time ago. It's all pretty new to me. But here we go. So, transferring the monopropellant from the Lunar Excursion module into the main service module, just in case we need it. And then it's time to go back to Earth. So here we are. It's been 14 days since our Kerbals left the Earth, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't 14 days in the actual mission. So we strayed from reality a little bit, not going to lie. But here we go. So doing our burn to get a periapsis and basically move our orbit from around the moon to around Kerbin. And there we go. Now there's Kerbin in the distance. Now we're burning to get the periapsis low enough that we will touch the atmosphere. So we're actually going to circularize. So if you see how much fuel I've got left in this part of the craft. This is why I could have circularized around the moon with this part of the craft. Okay, because if you see how much Delta V I've got left, I've got absolutely tons. To the point where I didn't need to, but I circularized around Kerbin for fun. Because, I didn't know, I couldn't be bothered. So here we go. I wanted to land in water, because in real life, the actual thing landed in water. So here we go. Burning. Kill all our speed. Well, not all our speed, but a lot of our speed. And here we go, re-enter. And there we go. What beautiful flames coming off the side of the craft. And all the Kerbals seem very happy about it. Here we go. It's funny because Kerbin in the game is probably like half the size of our moon. So how small does that make the Mun? Like in size comparison, quite small. I just like the fact that there's planets that you can explore the whole of. Like you can literally fly all the way around Kerbin if you want to, and it's a massive planet that they've made, and it's really cool. But anyway, we've done splashdown. Okay, that's the most important thing. Kerbals are back. Nobody died. And there we go. What a wonderful day. Now, I'm quickly going to go back and have a quick look at the modules left on the ground. But first, I'm just deleting all the stuff. Deleting all the debris that was floating in space. I know some would say it's cheating. But, you know, what can I say? And that's the module floating in space. I don't want to delete that because it's awesome. And this should be, there we go, that's the module sitting on the moon with no Kerbals. So anyway guys, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. Check out my videos. Check out my other videos, that's one. And I'll probably see you next week, or on Wednesday, that's the same week. Anyway, this has just gone downhill the whole time I've been speaking. So I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.